everybody, and welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Wendy Lee, and this is The Daily Show, where we bring you the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight to what it all means. Joining us today is Dennis Tzeng.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Collider Movie Talk. It's Friday. It's also Thor Ragnarok Day.
Yay!
Opens today. A bunch of us have already seen it. You can check out our spoiler review, our non-spoiler review, up on the channel. Wendy, who else is joining us today?
Also joining us today is Mark Reilly.
Well, I'm happy to be here on this wonderful Friday. Can't wait to see Thor again tonight, opening night at the Dome with a bunch of people. That's the best way to see it.
Another best way to see it is maybe to try to find that connection you were missing, John Rocha.
Whoa.
Yeah! The God of Thunder! All right, bringing the Friday energy. I saw it last night. No, I saw it last night at the Dome. So Riley, you're gonna have a great time. A lot of fun. Make sure you don't be in the screening where there's a fight, because there was a fight apparently at one of the screenings last night. I think.
What were they fighting over?
Snyder was there. I think. I don't know.
Of course, he was involved.
Snyder started it.
Probably with all his sniffing and moaning about something. But yeah. Anyway, I'm excited. Let's do it. Let's talk movies.
All right, Wendy, what do we got first?
After it was reported that Quentin Tarantino was leaving the Weinstein Company and showing his script to major studios to bid on distribution for his Charles Manson-centered script, Deadline is now reporting that the Manson movie is like calling Inglourious Basterds an Adolf Hitler movie. Instead, the movie is a drama best compared to Pulp Fiction and set in the late 1960s or early 1970s Los Angeles, involving the Manson murders but with a twist yet to be revealed. Deadline also reported that, as previously reported, Margot Robbie has been offered the role of Sharon Tate, and Tarantino has written roles for Brad Pitt, Leonardo Dicaprio, and Samuel L. Jackson. No casting commitments have been made just yet, and a release date has not been secured. Dennis, thoughts on the new details about Tarantino's new movie for the Manson murders?
Yeah, I remember when they announced this, they were talking about it was surrounding Charles Manson and the Manson killings, and there was a lot of concern over whether they were going to glorify Manson, but it seems like that's not going to be the case here. And Tarantino, in the past, he's done a good job. You know, they mentioned Inglourious Basterds and Adolf Hitler. He does these things where he twists it around, and he takes something like, Adolf Hitler, and he creates these kind of crowd-pleasing scenes where these horrific evildoers get their due justice. Adolf Hitler, spoiler if you haven't seen Inglourious Basterds, he gets shot to 1,000 pieces. You've seen that in Django. You see Django, he whips the slave drivers, with the, and so is he going to do that with this movie? Is Manson going to maybe not be the focal point, but does he appear somehow and, I don't know, get brutally beaten up by baseball bats? I don't know. But I like that it's not going to center totally around him. And then the part with Brad Pitt, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Sam Jackson, I mean, he's already worked with these guys before, and I loved Leonardo DiCaprio and Sam Jackson in Django, and so they had a great chemistry in there, coming back together, hopefully, for this one. I thought Leonardo DiCaprio should have gotten an Oscar nomination for that role. This is something, every Tarantino film is just something excited to look forward to. Rocha?
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I like the idea of all these people coming into the cast. The fact that they keep saying it's a Manson family film gets me even more excited, because it makes it feel like this is going to be a lot of storylines kind of intersecting, because there's so much about it. When you talk about Squeaky Fromm, if you've done any research on this, and then Manson's one of these captivating characters in history, right? He's a serial killer who never actually physically did any of the killing, right? And he just motivated. He's a cult leader that actually carried out these incredible visions without killing himself, unlike Jim Jones did in Guyana. So you have so much around him that's very interesting. And he's like Hitler. He's like this. He's just that kind of name that evokes this kind of feeling when you hear about it. So I think Tarantino's the right guy. And you're right to bring up Django, to bring up Inglourious Basterds. These are revenge fantasies, what we would like to have seen happen. So the fact that you're casting Margot Robbie as Sharon Tate may mean Sharon Tate kicks some ass and kills Charles Manson instead of getting killed herself. So you never know what can happen with this. But I love that we accept these kind of Elseworlds approaches to real life history, and it's supposedly, the rumor is $100 million budget. So this isn't going to be like a cheap film that they're going to do on the sly. this is going to be a lot of production value, and it may be almost 3 hours because Inglourious Basterds was what 2.5, 2 hours. And 40,
I don't think
something like that.
Tarantino does anything on the cheap.
Right, exactly. Well, no, but I mean, yeah, but he works within the budgets that he has. But $100 million is going to be interesting to see how much of LA he's going to explore and how much of the storylines involved in it. But I love that he's bringing back his. It's almost like his crew, with Samuel L. and Dicaprio now, and certainly with Brad Pitt as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I love it.
Reilly?
This is so. I can't wait for this movie. The more I hear about it, so I love hearing Pulp Fiction. It's more closer to Pulp Fiction. So you guys have talked about like, Dennis, you mentioned like intersecting stories, and that's Pulp Fiction to me. Then we have Brad Pitt. You got Inglourious Basterds, so you got the twist on a story, an alternate universe. Brad Pitt, Inglourious Basterds, Django Unchained, Leonardo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, Samuel L. Jackson. How much better can this cast get if they all sign on? I would love to hear more about like is it going to be the cult of Manson? Is it going to be, are we going to see a Manson? I think we are. So who is that cast going to be like? What's that cast going to be like? All around, this just keeps getting better and better. And no wonder these studios are bidding on it and going to lengths. We've reported on this before. They're going to the lengths of sending somebody out to his agents, reading the script, and then going, okay, are you interested? Great. Now come back again. Now bid. Tell us what you're going to do to sell this in theaters. No more Harvey Weinstein. Good riddance. So
Yes.
you have now these studios that are lining up going, okay, we will play your game no matter what, because this is, Oscar contending. This is going to be across the board, something special to watch out for.
Yeah. You mentioned in the notes, all the studios are lined up because he's leaving the Weinstein Company, which previously was really Miramax before, which all his movies have been produced by Harvey Weinstein because of the sexual harassment allegations. He's separating himself from there, and now there's this bidding war. Except for you mentioned Disney is not.
No,
in that.
Disney is not in it.
Yeah,
but for obvious reasons.
Yes, but the rest of the studios are clamoring for it, and I think it's more of a prestige play, though. I mean, Tarantino movies do well. They're not, because you hear about all the bidding wars for James Bond. James Bond franchise. Everyone wants to get that, and they get a very low cut even when they make that movie of the profits. This is, I think, more a prestige thing. They want to be in bed with Tarantino, and so they want to attach themselves to that. Yeah. I mean, what studio would you guys like to see him at?
I mean, I think of like Paramount off the top of my head because of their relationship with Scorsese over the years. But then you think of Warner Brothers too with their prestige run with like Argo and a number of the Ben Affleck movies. So those would fit for me. I know you were going to say something.
Yeah, Fox. I like Fox because of what they did with Logan and Deadpool. Like they have no fear about going far out with what they're doing and exploring these harder topics and more complex issues and stripping away the niceties and really getting to the core of stuff. So I think they could do. And with Deadpool, they show they could do that and have a smirk on their face and make jokes. So Tarantino's films are full of jokes in these weird situations. I mean, Christoph Waltz is one of the most horrible characters you'll ever see in Inglourious Basterds. Yet he's incredibly magnetic to watch, and there are scenes where you actually can't stop yourself from chuckling or giggling, even though he's committing evil in these conversations or about to commit evil. So he has this ability, and I think Fox would really work for that.
Cool. All right, Wendy, what's next?
Family drama. The ongoing feud between Tyrese Gibson and The Rock continues, but this time Gibson has threatened to drop out of Fast 9 should Dwayne Johnson sign on. Taking to his Instagram account to vent his frustrations, Gibson said, "I'm sorry to announce that if Dwayne is in Fast 9, there will be no more Roman Pierce. You mess with family and my daughter's survival, I mess with yours. Close your eyes, dude, you're a clown." Rocha, what do you think about Tyrese Gibson's ultimatum about The Rock in Fast and Furious 9?
Man,
I thought you were taking off your jacket like you were gearing up. I was like, wow, let's get into it.
Get serious.
You got to understand where you are in the food chain. And this is what you got to understand. Tyrese, you are expendable, son. You're inevitably the worst parts of those movies every single time because all you do is yell and go, "Hey, man!" Ludacris puts you in your place, and then we move on to the next scene. It's ridiculous. Like no one will miss you if you're gone. So you doing this like thing is just a bunch of noise, and it means nothing, signifying nothing, right? Because The Rock is the man. They're doing the spinoff with The Rock, not with your character. There's a reason for that. You were talking about I want to be Green Lantern. You ain't being Jon Stewart, son. You got to understand where you are in the food chain of Hollywood. You don't see me going to Christian. do the schmodown. I don't want to come back. I'm like, Chris, man, screw you. I'm going to keep going with the schmodown. That's how it works. Don't be messing with the star of the show, son. Move on. But I understand. But no, strip all that away. I think there's something actually seriously going on with him emotionally because he's going through this custody battle with his daughter. And there's like, he posted this like crying video talking about how he's out of money and he's broke and he's going to lose his daughter in this custody battle, his 10-year-old daughter. So I think there's a lot going on for him. And some people forget that actors go through a lot of emotional stuff, even the ones that make it, because when you get to that top bit where you're tasting that fine air, it sucks to come tumbling down. And I think with Tyrese, it's always been kind of like up and down, up and down. And so this is something where he is just trying to feel himself a little too hard on a public scale. And so many people are laughing at him, and I feel bad for him because he's got to handle his emotional and mental health stuff first, I think, before he starts getting access to social media. And this is one of the dangers of social media. If you're not paying attention, you can get destroyed instead of helped.
For me, I actually like Tyrese, and I actually like him in the movies. I think he provides some comedic relief. But I'm with you in the sense of like the studio's not going over there and going, "Hey, Rock, hey,
listen, man.
Listen, Tyrese he says he's not going to come back if you don't, if you aren't on the film. So we're going to cancel your spinoff. We don't want you back in the Fast and Furious." That's not going to happen.
Right.
And then you're talking about if he's looking for money, it's like it's a weird way to play this. Like, I'm going to quit this thing that's going to give me a lot of money if he needs that money. I don't know. That post was very hard to read because I don't quite understand what's going on there. I mean, at one point he's talking about his family and his daughter's survival, and then at some point he's accusing The Rock of taking steroids.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's
all over the place. Yes,
right.
yes. Reilly, what do you think?
God. I mean, I've been watching, what you said, Rocha, about him having problems.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I've just been kind of following the feud, the back and forth. That bums me out to hear that, though. And you look at this and you go, okay, there's something going on.
Yeah.
Something's happening. And then to your point, Dennis, don't take it to social media because you're dealing with a conglomerate here. In Universal that distributes these movies, and the bottom line is money. And The Rock makes a lot of money for every studio he works with, whether it's his upcoming Jumanji with Sony, he's got the new spin-offs, he has Skyscraper coming out, he's going to be Black Adam over at Warner Brothers in the DCEU. He is the biggest star in the world. So, Tyrese, you're going up against a losing battle, and if you're that hurt, you got to tone it down and worry about your daughters. If this is what your point is, you're not doing them any favors.
Yeah.
This is bad news. So I would suggest putting the phone down, going off of social media, and going and talking to either the people at Universal and airing your grievances, or reach out to The Rock.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe try to bury it. This has been going on for a while. We thought it was some wrestling stunt when it was Vin Diesel and The Rock, but there's obviously things going on behind the scenes. But Tyrese right now is the one that's yelling into the void.
Right. And
while The Rock continues to go out and make these, billion-dollar movies. So I feel really bad for the guy now. And I hope that something good happens for him, that he can get to the bottom of this, bury the hatchet, because you have a good gig going, man. You're not gonna play chicken with The Rock and win.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose. I'm sorry. That's just the business side. But on your personal side, I feel for him. I hope that he figures it out. But yeah, what you said kind of changed my whole. I was gonna say, oh, you're losing a job, man. You're out. But now hearing that, I'm like, okay. The poor guy. That's what I feel right now.
Yeah, dude, you don't put your emotional stuff on social media. Don't
Yeah.
put your stuff that you're going through on social media. It's going to hurt you more than it helps, and it's going to hurt the cause more than it helps. Like, get off social media, figure your stuff out, get healthy, then come back. Because people don't want to see a breakdown on social media. They just don't. It does not bring the results that you think it's going to bring.
Right.
Yeah. Wendy, what do you think about this? Tyrese's, decision to kind of give this ultimatum, like, hey, if The Rock comes back, which he definitely is.
I mean,
I'm
at
gonna
first,
quit.
I laughed about it because the whole quote, if you just look at his Instagram, it's filled with a bunch of ellipses. It's just there's no one straight thought. He can't finish one thought before he goes into the next. But I didn't really know about his situation, so now I feel bad, and that I feel bad that that's his only outlet is Instagram. You can't talk to anyone else. He must have friends and family or counselors or whatever, but. to talk about The Rock not coming back for Fast and Furious versus Tyrese, like if the studio had to choose one, I'm really sorry, but they're going to go with The Rock. The Rock's making, and if they don't pick him, he's going to go and make other studios money with 5 other movies because that man is a movie-making machine. So, like, I think it's kind of sad that it's gotten to this point. I think it's sad that, like, both Vin Diesel and Tyrese have had drama with The Rock. Like, it's supposed to be family, and they're all, like, seem great. And it's like people didn't want to stand on stage with each other, I think, during some panel or something crazy like that. But, I mean, just talk it out, like pound it out, be buddies, get over it.
I just love that it's like usually the stigma is, oh, women are undercutting women. And here we have men just going at each other, and the Michelle Rodriguez, Jordana Brewster, they're just chilling doing their thing, man. The dudes are all like making big noise about it and acting like
they're making
fools.
popcorn like, yeah, drama. This is what people say that girls do. Look at it now. Eat the popcorn.
It's ridiculous.
All right, guys. Now we're moving on to buy or sell. Wendy, we got first.
According to a report from The Wrap, Mark Strong is in talks to play DC Comics villain Dr. Sivana in New Lines. Did I say that right? Sivana from In New Lines Shazam. Known as Shazam's arch enemy and most frequent foe. In the most recent run of DC Comics, The New 52, that Shazam is loosely based on, Sivana is depicted as a respected scientist desperate to save his family from an unknown plight. Lights Out in the Annabelle Creations, David Sandberg will direct with filming on set to begin in February 2018 for a likely 2019 release. Reilly, buy or sell Mark Strong as the villain in Shazam?
Oh hell yeah, I buy this. It's Mark Strong, man. We gotta wipe the slate clean with that Green Lantern nonsense that he was a part of, because Mark Strong is one of the best in the business, and I think he's the only thing I truly liked, really came back thinking about in Kingsman: The Golden Circle. He was great in that. He's great in that franchise, and he plays a good guy in that. I love that he can go back and forth in these comic book properties, being a good guy and then being a bad guy. And in this case, staying in the DC as a bad guy. But of course, as Sinestro, he started as a good guy. So this is a buy for me, absolutely. He's Mark Strong. I don't know Shazam as well, so I'll go to you for this, Rocha, because of who the villain is. But kind of looking at some of the notes and what he's doing in the New 52 line is that he discovers the Black Adam crypt or tomb. Yeah. Well, there we go. There's a little connection that I like to hear and like to see, because I'm like, okay, how are they going to introduce Black Adam? Well, there it is. I think he's the key to unlocking the next movie with The Rock, and that's a buy for me. Mark Strong is a solid choice.
Rocha?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a buy for me. I think if you're going to if you can't have The Rock be your main villain, which has not been confirmed that it will be Black Adam as the main villain, Dr. Savannah, and who is usually like a really small, frail guy, to cast someone like Mark Strong is good because it conveys that kind of strength that you want to see. And you're right, Mark, it's all related to the tomb he discovers. So you can have appearances by The Rock, but he's not as Black Adam, but he's not necessarily the main person. So you have someone strong like Mark Strong be the villain. We've seen him be the villain in so many films. What was that Neil Gaiman film? Stardust?
Stardust, yeah.
Stardust,
Stardust.
He was great as the villain in Stardust. And even as Sinestro, he was good as that when he had to be a hard ass with Ryan Reynolds in the Green Lantern film. So he's great at playing those things, and we saw him in Kingsman. He's so much fun. He's such a powerful actor, and of course, the Sherlock Holmes, he was a villain there as well. So there's so much that he can do with this character that would convey the strength. And there's interesting parallels to Mr. Freeze and Dr. Savannah, because they're both doing what they're doing for their family. Like Savannah Freeze for his wife, Savannah for his family, and he gets lost in this whole thing of this mysticism and magic. So there's a lot to play with here, especially when you deal with Shazam, who deals with magic himself. So there's a lot to explore here. So I totally buy this. I think he's a great choice. It gets me even more excited for the movie, as if Zachary Levi, who I'm 1,000% behind now, didn't get me even more excited. Now this, even more so.
Yeah, I'm buying this as well. This reminds me, you guys mentioned that he was a villain in Kick-Ass. He's a villain in Sherlock Holmes.
Oh yeah, Kick-Ass.
Do you remember?
Kick-Ass?
Yeah,
Do you remember
same.
that Super Bowl commercial, that Jaguar one? That
yeah.
That had British people as villains. They had Ben Kingsley, they had Tom Hiddleston, they had Mark Strong.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this kind of fits the bill. I mean, in Sinestro, it kind of, it was more towards the end, or at the post-credit scene where he turned into a villain.
Yeah.
And so now he's jumping from a movie that was part of the DC universe now into the, potentially a DCEU. And with the character, they kind of shows you in hints that, okay, how much of Black Adam is going to be in Shazam? Is it going to be, okay, does he find the crypt in the beginning of the movie, or does he find it at the end? And then that leads into the Black Adam.
Yeah, good point, yeah.
Black Adam movie. All right, what's next?
In a new report from the Wall Street Journal, it looks as though Disney's condition for theater screening Star Wars: The Last Jedi includes some unprecedented demands that are causing some theaters to question the arrangement. The report details that Disney is now requiring 65% of the revenue from ticket sales, up from 64% for The Force Awakens and Rogue One. Disney is also requiring theaters to play the film in their largest auditorium for at least 4 weeks, and if they break the agreement because tickets aren't selling enough to justify and they drop a theater screening, Disney will penalize the theater chain by increasing their ticket revenue to 70%. Dennis, buy or sell Disney's condition for theaters screening The Last Jedi?
Yeah, I have to sell this. I don't think this is a good strategy. Why, strong arm the theaters, especially the small mom and pop theaters, into doing this? If the movie's going to sell well, like we think it's going to, the theaters will keep the movie in their main auditorium as long. It's like over here at the Burbank AMC 16, they have the AMC Prime. They put, what movie they think is going to do well in there. And then they keep it as long, like if the movie doesn't do well, then they kind of quickly switch it to another movie. But if it does well, they'll keep it in there. So I just don't understand the tactics of Disney. Why force the theaters to do something? They're already going to do what's in their best financial interests. So I don't know, like the typical, it's typically 2 weeks in the main auditorium, but now they're forcing them to do 4. What if it's financially beneficial for a mom and pop place to do it 3 weeks instead of 4? Like, why penalize the small guy? Like, maybe, when you're talking about these bigger theaters, but I don't know. I just don't, I can't get with this. Reilly?
Yeah, I can't get with it either, because in doing the research on these notes, you look at these small theater chains, like you mentioned, Dennis, the mom and pop. Now, when I was in Michigan for many, many weeks, there was one movie theater in the middle of nowhere, and it had 2 theater screens. And at the time I was there, I think there was like, oh God, what was the movie? It was like Marley and Me. That was it. Okay, so Marley and Me, small movie. It was the only one playing in that whole town, and on the 2 theater screens. So, and then and then another movie moved in literally a week later. So if we're talking The Last Jedi, you're going to put it in the only 2 theaters on that screen, in the small mom and pop in the small town. Okay, then it's going to sell out every single time. But then if they, and then 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, they want to take one of those screenings away and put in the next movie, and we're around Christmas time, so we're going to get some awards movies, we're going to get, other big movies that are out there, like Jumanji. Then Disney's going to penalize this small company for that? They're going to up the ticket revenue to 70%? That to me is a little, that's mean, Disney. That's mean. I'm sorry. You're going to make your money.
Yeah.
You're going to make your money. It's The Last Jedi. You've already upped it 1 percentage point from 64% to 65%. This thing's going to sell out. It's going to continue to sell out throughout the holidays, into the new year, probably through February. You're going to get your money no matter what, 65%, 64%, what have you. But to put it at 70% if they move one away from the theater,
penalize
that is really, that sucks. And doing the research again, these mom and pop shops are like, well, then you're forcing us. We can't show it. We can't show it. Bottom line, they have to make money too. God, that is a huge percentage point. 65% of ticket sales goes back to Disney. Wow. Wow. Okay.
Rocha, your thoughts?
A great philosopher once said, "I'm altering the deal. Pray I don't alter it any further."
Whoa.
And I feel like this is, and that philosopher is Darth Vader. And I feel like this is what's happening. Disney, owns Star Wars. They're kind of going you through the Darth Vader playbook a little bit, and it feels uncomfortable. If you do a little more research, you see the Wall Street Journal posted that they did this for Force Awakens to 64%, but they didn't penalize them the 5% for not showing it. So they let them have their autonomy as business owners. Like, they have a right to screen what films keep them alive, because Disney ain't going to fund the theater, So when you go to the smaller theaters, they have to do what's best. And I guess these theater owners are now going to have to gauge or kind of predict in a way, like, what if we take it off, are we going to make more money putting another film in there, and would that offset the cost of paying the penalty to Disney? So you're asking these theater owners, and theater people are already afraid that theater is going to die, theater is going to go away. The more we stream and become digital.
Great point.
I wonder if this just keeps enforcing this idea of Disney slowly taking the whole thing over. I mean, they're going to do their own channel now, their own streaming channel. So this is kind of like the next step, because the thing, you have to not think right in front of you. You have to understand these are large corporations. They're thinking 4 or 5 years down the road. So they're taking steps now to make those visions come to life. And this is kind of in that vein, because the more you squeeze the little guy, like they did with bookstores, all those mom and pop bookstores disappeared. So there's a conglomerate showed up. And this may be happening here too, where the mom and pop movie theaters disappear and they're all just theaters owned by the studios like it used to be in the beginning. So there's a lot of change happening here that's uncomfortable and we don't like it. And, you know, I think it's not going to be an issue because this film is going to be amazing. Everyone's going to love it. People are going to go and see it for 4 weeks in a row, no problem. But other movies are what I worry about. If they start going like, well, no, you need to show this movie. We know Inhuman sucks and IMAX, but you're going to keep it in there for 4 weeks because I say so because we're ABC and we're part of Disney, blah, blah, blah. That's what I worry about is the Star Wars tactics on movies that aren't going to have a great box office.
But then my point is, why even do it on something you know is going to be successful?
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you know this is going to make money, and if it's financially beneficial for these theaters to do it, they're going to keep it anyways. Wendy, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I'm such a big fan of Disney. I'm definitely a Star Wars fan, but this news makes me so uncomfortable to hear these restrictions that you impose on, especially the smaller theaters. Like, yes, everybody sitting here, everybody working here likes Star Wars and definitely would see it, no problem, 4 weeks in a row. But there are people in the world, guys, that don't like Star Wars. Yes, they're out there and it's okay. But there are other movies that they want to see, and I just feel that, like, you're putting these demands on these theaters, like you have to show it in the biggest auditorium we have. You have to show it for 4 weeks, and then if you don't, we're going to charge you 70% of the revenue. Like, so it's all about it. It just sounds. I hate this word, but it sounds so greedy, and it's like so shameful that Disney's like stooped to this. Because I'm such a fan, I don't like hearing about news like this, but it is what it is, and I hope. I don't know. Maybe some better arrangements could be made for like side deals for these smaller theaters.
Yeah, and this lays a precedent for other studios to come and do this stuff.
Yeah, and theaters are already hurting as it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's on next?
It's about you're tearing me apart, Lisa.
Yes.
A24 has released a new trailer for The Disaster Artist, directed by James Franco and written by 500 Days of Summer Scott Neustadter and Michael H. Weber. The film follows the making of Tommy Wiseau's The Room, the infamous cult film that is frequently called the worst movie ever made. The film opens on limited release on December 1st and goes wide on December 8th. You can read the reviews from TIFF, now up on Collider.com. Reilly, buy or sell the new trailer for The Disaster Artist?
Do I buy this? Yep, I buy it. It's a big buy for me. Everything I'm seeing is so amazing. Has anybody called the number on the billboard that they put up? They recreated, the marketing campaign is phenomenal on this. They recreated the billboard. Tommy Wiseau put up the Room billboard to basically sell his movie. I mean, this guy is a hustler. That's what I will say about that. Whether the movie is good. The movie is not good. See The Room. The Room is phenomenally bad. It's become a cult thing, but everybody knows that right now. But go see it because you can't imagine, you cannot fathom how bad this movie is. But for this trailer, it's really starting to peel back the layers on the actual person, Tommy Wiseau. And I'm sorry, but James Franco looks like he is just knocking it out of the park. Is he going to get an Oscar nomination for this? This is phenomenal. I hope he does because just what I'm seeing, he looks like he's having a great time, but he also looks like he's just embodied this role and that he's just disappeared. And that's what I love to see from any actor. So this is a big buy for me. Love the marketing. Now give me the movie. December 8th can't get here fast enough.
Yeah, this is a buy for me. I love this trailer. It's hilarious.
Bye.
Yeah,
In sync action.
Yeah,
All right.
the whole do you have an accent? No. Like, what? How old are you? Oh, I'm Greg's age, 19. Yeah, and I'm 40. Like all this stuff is hilarious. Yeah, Tommy Wiseau. He's a character. I went to LA Comic-Con 2 years ago. Me and my friend Barrett went up to his booth, and we met him, took a picture with him. He was very friendly, very nice. This time, we went to LA Comic-Con last week. Walked by, like there's a crowd around his booth. You know? So he's starting to get, he was already kind of famous in this because the movie's kind of a cult hit because of how bad it is. After this movie comes out, he's going to be even more famous. And it's going to be crazy. But this film has this kind of Ed Wood, Bowfinger kind of feel to it that I just absolutely love. Rocha?
Yeah, I think if you love the art of filmmaking, you can't be any more excited to see this movie. I absolutely buy it. And last night they showed a trailer before the screening of Thor, and it was a scene. I don't know if this was the first trailer, but it's a scene repeated over and over. He can't get the line right.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
then when
like the first trailer.
Yeah, it's the first trailer. And when he finally gets the line right, people are cheering. And I'm like, I've been there. I know that experience. And I was like, this is great. So to see this coming out, and Franco is doing incredible amount of work in this film, and people, give him stuff for his performance art, the stuff he does at UCLA, all the stuff that he did. But if this came out of all of that, then it was all worth it. You know what I'm saying? Because the trailer looks fantastic. I absolutely buy it. So much fun, very interesting. And I have never seen The Room. And my friend leaned over last night and he's like, "We're setting up a screening. We're all gonna go see The Room, and then we're gonna see Disaster Artist right afterwards." So I'm looking forward for that experience because this trailer just looks fantastic. And wouldn't it be interesting if Franco wins the Oscar for portraying Tommy Wiseau in this film? Wiseau is going to be at the event, and somehow he will end up on the Oscars stage receiving the award with Franco. Madness! It would.
Wait
be
a minute,
madness.
you are so right that
That's
he will
like
be
Oscar
at the
Inception.
Oscars.
Of course, he'll be at the Oscars.
He will be at the Oscars for either a bit. He will be there to either jump up on stage. He will. Jesus, this guy did it.
And what's madness
He
is
did it.
all of us who've been actors or in that acting class, we've been with that actor. You're like, that guy is crazy. He's way out. And there's no way he's ever going to make it. And this guy is that 1 in 25 million that did it. And you're just like, oh, wow, this is madness. He's up there.
I can't believe it. He reminds me of the guy that I did in theater school where he did a monologue from Exorcist 3 and played the devil. He was this guy that was just so out there, had the accent and everything. He's like, "Hello, I'm going to be playing the devil from Exorcist 3. And you're like, what the hell are you doing? You're doing the monologue from Exorcist 3? Go for it, dude.
Wow.
And he tried, man. He tried. But this reminds me of this guy. I can't. God, this is nonsense. I can't wait.
All right, guys. Before we get in mailbag, I want to remind you we're going to check your live Twitter questions at the end of the show. You can tweet us at Collider Video. We also have a lot of videos that are happening. First up, we have an interview with Richard Linklater that Rocha did yesterday.
Yay.
That will
Nice.
be. When's that coming out? This today?
I think the interview comes out next week. Yeah,
Okay.
sometime next week, right? Yeah, because the movie's only opening in 4 theaters, so there's some spoilers in that conversation with Richard, and so I think it's going to come out after the movie comes out on Friday. So it'll probably be out on Friday, so we go see the movie and then watch the interview afterwards. And an incredible guy, very easy to talk to. We talked like 10, 15 minutes after our interview about other things, and he's very concerned with soldier issues and how we treat our soldiers. So this is a film that's very personal to him, and it was a joy to be able to have the opportunity to interview him.
I'm glad you had the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you,
to-
Will.
I was out of studio, and then I saw the picture on Instagram. So,
Yeah.
oh, cool. Rocha got to interview him. All right, we're going to play a little preview of
sure.
that. Adam, take it away.
But the film deals with 3 veterans of the Vietnam era, of the Vietnam War, rather. 2 of them from the Marines, 1 from the Navy, Steve Carell's from the Navy,
Yeah.
and of course you have Bryan Cranston, Lawrence Fishburne, such fantastic actors.
Yeah.
How did this project come about? Because I've been reading that it's a spiritual sequel to Hal Ashby's The Last Detail. Is any of that true?
No, we never
Okay.
promoted it. That it's strangely, I see where the confusion comes from. It was,
Yeah.
it was the book by Daryl Ponnickson that I
Right.
read in 2005. He wrote The Last Detail
Right.
also, so the book is kind of a sequel, but the movie was never going to be. You can't really have a sequel if you don't have the same actors, and that was never going to happen. So we adapted it farther and farther away from those details. We
Right.
added the Vietnam backdrop, for instance, which isn't in those others. It's not
Okay.
Vietnam specific. So, and we made them Marines in that they're all Navy, because once we gave them that story, it's like, well, they'd be Marines,
Right.
not Navy. So,
Right.
and things like when they go to visit their buddy's mom years later, stuff like that was additive. So, but the core characters were from Daryl's book, and I just kind of loved them.
Yeah.
I read this book, and it spoke so much to me, even though I never was in the military. But like everyone in my generation, all our dads did. My dad he was in the Navy, caught the end of the Korean War, and you grew up around it. So, but it had a lot on its mind, both the Iraq War, the origins of that, and then how it echoes with the Vietnam War. Those 2 wars kind of talking to each other, and what's very similar and what's different.
So check out the rest of that interview with Richard Linklater for Last Flag Flying with John Rocha. That will be out probably sometime in the next week or 2. Also want to mention our top 50 superhero movies list.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff going on there.
Yeah.
We dropped our honorable mentions. We dropped number 50. We dropped number 49 today. A lot of debate going on.
Comment section.
Yes, a lot going on. It's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun doing that. We're going to keep doing that. There's going to be a video for each one, and we're going to be dropping them every weekday. Also, we have a Pacific Rim Uprising set visit on Collider.com. Also, a new Schmodown will be up later today.
You're going down, Sammy.
Is it you? Is
Me
it
and
you?
Levine.
Okay.
I'm
boy.
gonna spank
Big
that
one.
baby. I'm gonna spank that little
Easy,
child.
okay.
And then we also have, like I mentioned, Thor Ragnarok. We have a spoiler review coming out today. We also have a cool interview with the Thor Ragnarok's director, Taika Waititi, but it's not a typical interview. You actually will see it's on Collider's Ladies' Night. It's something different. He
Yeah.
tattoos some of the ladies here. And he's a funny dude.
Yeah.
He's a funny guy. Definitely check that out. We also have a brand new Awesome Tackler as well. Wendy, what do we got in the mailbag?
This one's from Matt, who writes, "Hey Collider, Matt here. With the Winter Olympics just around the corner, my question is, what is your favorite winter sports movie? And what is your favorite winter sports event during the Olympics? Thanks, you guys. Love the show."
Yeah, this is an easy one for me. My favorite winter sport is the ice hockey. So every year or every 4 years when it comes on, I intently watch. So of course my favorite movie based on a winter sport is Miracle. Which
Yeah,
is,
great movie.
1980s U.S. hockey team taking on. It's a perfect like David and Goliath story. You have the U.S. team, which is basically a bunch of amateurs, college hockey players. This is before Olympics took on professional players, taking on the Soviet players who technically weren't professional players, but they were professional level athletes, and even better, they took on the U.S. All-Star team and thrashed them. So to see a bunch of kids,
College kids.
yeah, college kids defeat them is crazy. I watched the documentary and I watched the movie, and Kurt Russell does a great performance as the coach, Herb Brooks. Directed by Gavin O'Connor, who did Warrior as well. Yeah, that's my favorite winter sports movie. Rocha, what's yours?
Well, look, we all had to choose one different one. I would have chosen Miracle. I would have chosen Cool Runnings. But you know what? I'm going to choose something different. I like ice skating. No, I'm not going to say Blades of Glory. The cutting edge.
Yes.
Yes.
Cutting edge. son.
Yes.
There you go.
That is
There
a
you go.
damn good movie.
Finally, a
from the
movie I
80s.
agree with you on. Wow, and over this too. It's a great movie.
Is it 80s or 90s? Well, I know it's early 90s or
I
late
think
80s.
it's early 90s.
Early
Early 90s, I
90s,
think.
starring one of my greatest crush, Moira Kelly.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And I will always say toe pick till the day I die. So this is just a fantastic film. D.B. Sweeney, I think,
Yeah,
is in
D.B.
it.
Sweeney.
They have great chemistry going. We get Terry O'Quinn
Yeah.
from Lost.
Lost, yeah.
He plays the
Locke.
evil dad. And so this is such a fun, enjoyable film. And ice skating is such a difficult sport to do, and so it can be very individualistic, and it's full of prima donnas. We hear about this all the time. So the fact this film confronts that and turns it into a romantic comedy, and a very believable romantic comedy, a very enjoyable romantic comedy, because the guy's a hockey player versus an ice skater. So you're getting this kind of romantic comedy where both are very provincial about their sports, combining together, and it's about compromise, right? Just like any good relationship, it's about compromise, working together, and at the end they fall in love. That's the cherry on top of the beautiful cake. So I say the cutting edge. I love that
Yeah,
film.
and it does the opposites attract.
Of
type
course,
thing.
of course.
Yeah.
With the sparkler and the New Year's Eve party. It's everything.
Oh, I remember that scene. So cute.
Riley?
I gotta see this movie again. I haven't seen it.
So
That's
good.
That's a great pull. I'm gonna go even deeper if I may. This is so winter sport. I love ski jumping. I've always been. I love skiing in general. Just love it. So anything slalom, ski jumping. These are great athletes. So to jump off of that, I'm going back to the '80s with Better Off Dead.
Oh, yes!
You know Better Off Dead? This is John Cusack. It's
Great film.
hysterical. It's right smack dab in the 80s where you have some John Hughes flavor, but then it's just nonsense, top secret, airplane kind of humor. I mean, Lane, he sits in his car, and then you have the Asians that pull up, and they're like, Lane, we're going to, and they start racing him everywhere they go. But it's a hero versus bully kind of story. He has to ski this, the K22, which is the craziest mountain in his Northern California town, and he has to beat the bully, and he does ski, and does he win? Well, you got to see the movie to find out. But it's just this movie is nonsense. You have Booger from Revenge of the Nerds that has this weird, snort anything up his nose fetish, Jello, the obvious things. But then he looks at the mountain of snow and he goes, I just realized this mountain is pure snow. Go check it out. Better Off Dead. Not really a winter sports movie, but there's some winter sports in there. It's just nonsense.
Wendy, what about you?
I think I'm kind of good at giving the basic answer, but I don't care. I love this movie. Feel the rhythm, feel the run, get on up. It's bobsled time. Cool run-ins. Yeah. It's the best. I love it.
You have to.
Yeah, and someone mentioned Eddie the Eagle. That's a
That's a
really
great
good
one
one
too,
as
yeah.
well.
Absolutely.
All right, guys, that's it for Mailbag. Now on to your live Twitter questions. You can tweet us at Collider Video, and Wendy will pick out a few. What do we got first?
All right, this first one comes from Tommy Hartstock, okay, who writes, does competing in Schmodown change the way you watch movies? And I guess this will be more for Reilly and Rocha.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
God, when you're in the middle of maybe a run or competing and you start watching movies, like things pop up and you're like, that might be a trivia question.
Yep.
And I've been known to pause the movie if I'm at home and look up IMDb to go, what is that again? Sometimes it can ruin the movie going experience because you're like, I better know that fact, and you'd pause, and your girlfriend's next to you, looking at you like you're gonna eat a baby, and you're like, what's going on? I hate you for doing this, and I'm like, sorry, I gotta do the okay, and then you pause. So that's my experience with it. Rocha?
Yeah, absolutely. It does. I mean, and Riley's right. When you're on a run, it's like things all of a sudden become highlighted in movies. You're like, I need to remember that. Or you go back through IMDb and you read through trivia stuff, or you read through quotes so you can remember stuff that they talk about in the movie. I've created Excel spreadsheets for movies to study and whatever. So when I'm watching a movie, I know what to watch out for. So absolutely, Schmodown has changed my damn life and has changed my life in watching movies as well. It's madness.
Yeah, I don't compete in it, but what I do is when I watch movies, then I see something like, that would make a great question for Schmodown, and I feel like writing them all down and sending them to Christian, but I'm like, oh man, what if they've already done it before or whatnot? Wendy, what's next?
This next one comes from Harris, who writes, Noah Schnapp from Stranger Things just follow Warner Brothers and David F. Sandberg on Instagram and Twitter. Could he be Billy Batson?
Ooh.
Too old, you think?
Yes.
Isn't Billy 10?
No, I think that's a
Older?
great
Yeah?
choice because Noah Schnapp really stood out in season 2. He took it to the next level. I mean, he had to do some things that were incredible for any actor. That's a great call for the role. Rocha, again, Shazam more than me. Is he the right age? Because you know what? There's been a lot of these things that happen where you can actually look at Twitter and go, oh, okay, and they start following each other, and then most times it's like, nothing, but this makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, he's 13. So he fits right in that, because 11 to 15 is where you want Billy Batson to be.
He's a young-looking
He
kid.
looks
he's a
young,
younger 13,
yeah.
and he looks like Zachary Levi a little bit. So it's certainly possible that this could be this kind of change, because that's what Billy Batson becomes, Shazam. So it could be interesting that this is the kid they're looking at, and I think he's a great choice. And you're right. In season 2, everyone's talking about how he took it to the next level in that season. So,
I've only seen up to episode 3. It's interesting because his character is mostly gone in the last season, so he didn't really get to see a lot of his acting chops. But in this season, you're going to see him featured a lot more. So I think he would be a good pick. All right, what's next?
This one comes from, I don't know how to say their name, Faba, writes, asking for panel's thought on Star Wars, a rumor about Snoke torturing both Kylo Ren and Rey. It's based on the latest promo that shows 2 chairs in Snoke's chambers.
No, I mean, it's
I didn't catch that,
possible.
but-
It's possible. Maybe he wants to put them up against each other, see who can, maybe tortures both of them, and he sees who can outlast one another. I don't know. I mean, isn't it the whole the strong will survive type of thing, strong survival of the fittest thing? Maybe he's doing that with both of them and see which one he's gonna take on as his. He can't do both of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, that's a good rumor. I haven't heard that. I mean, I guess you could speculate, look at the promos and go, yep, okay. But, if you listen to Ken Napzok and Christian Harloff, break down these trailers, one of my favorite things that they're talking about is the choices that Disney is obviously they're cutting these trailers together to show that there are going to be choices made, and we don't know whether Rey is going to join Kylo Ren or Kylo Ren's going to go back to the light or Rey goes to the darkness. That's what I like to see. So when it comes to speculating on are they both going to get tortured? I'm turning off my brain a little bit and being like, I don't want to go that far because that seems like a plot point. That's a speculatory plot point that I kind of want to go, I don't know, wait and see.
Rocha?
Well, standard office decoration demands that you have 2 seats on the other side of the desk. So maybe it's just that.
Hey, look at that. Bringing in the logic.
I'm just saying. Or if he's torturing both, then it could be Rey going deep undercover, claiming that she wants to explore the dark side because Luke won't train her, and that's her way of finding out what Snoke's tactics are, what Kylo's tactics are, and so maybe Snoke figures it out and is torturing her while Kylo sits in the other chair and watches it all happen. I don't know.
Wow.
There's certainly possible.
Are you doing a Beverly Hills Cop 2 reference? I'm going deep undercover. And it's like Rey, she's like, I need to go deep, but you won't even see me.
But
I'm
say it
going
with
to
a
be with
British
Snoke.
accent.
Yeah, right.
I love it.
All right, let's do one more.
Okay, this one's from It's Just a Spark, who writes, after the top 50 superhero movie videos, are you going to do another top 5 video in another movie category?
Yeah, that's the plan with it. We start off with superhero movies because we knew that was the most accessible to our audience. But yes, if these are successful, we will venture on to different genres and topics. I mean, different genres of movies, and then probably other maybe like top 50 actors ever, or top 50 actresses ever, top 50, So we westerns, crime dramas. So we would like to do that. They are very production intensive. You don't understand. We are shooting these. We've been shooting these things for I don't know, like months now. The editing, Frank's doing a fantastic job with that. But there's so much work that goes into them. So this is not going to be like, hey, let's do another top 50 right after this one's done. We'll take a break, and even if we started on one right after, we you still wouldn't see it. But that's the plan. I mean, you guys up for that?
Totally up for it. I would love a top 50 sci-fi, top 50 fantasy. But you guys mentioned, and there it is in the comments section of all these videos, these debates going on. You talk about debates. When we're coming up with these lists here in the office, man, just to settle on a list was a lot of conversation.
A lot of debate, arguments.
Debates, like people getting up and leaving and going, you're crazy. And walking out of the room and then coming back and going, okay, keep talking.
Are you talking about the discussion we had with the whiteboard and like trying to make our list?
I mean,
oh my God.
there were a lot of lists. I had some Excel spreadsheets, so it's really fun. So you guys are seeing it now, and I love the conversation happening. Just, keep it civil as always, but it's really fun. That's why I would love to do just across the board a bunch of top 50s. But like Dennis said, we need to plan it, prep it. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, Rocha.
Yeah, it's no surprise that we all talk movies anyway all day. It's why we enjoy doing this job and enjoy working for Collider. So top 50 dramas, top 50 actors, top 50 anything. Love to contribute because it's so much fun. And you're right, Mark. However much you're debating in the YouTube comments, we're debating in live as well. We're debating doing the list, and we're debating on the actual shows that you're watching.
I think some people think that we all got in a room and like, okay, we all agree on this one. We all agree. No. And this also, the voting also included the .com staff as well. So there's things that they said that we disagreed with, and vice versa. So it wasn't like, hey, everyone agrees with this one, let's put it on the. No, there was a lot of debate and discussion about it. So, all right, guys, that's it for today's episode. I want to thank you guys for joining us. I also want to thank the people joining us at the table today. Reilly, where can people find you?
Find me at Reilly Around, Twitter, Instagram. I'll be there talking top 50 superhero movies with you all.
Rocha.
Find me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, on Instagram. New episode of the Cinephiles today, Judgment at Nuremberg. And if you sat next to me at the Thor Ragnarok screening, you're that pretty lady, come find me. Let's have some fun. Let's have some coffee,
Wow.
Wendy.
In a good way.
Wendy.
Yay, you said it. We were like teasing him. We're like, you got to say something. You can find me on YouTube at The Movie Couple Channel, on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Wendy Lee Zaney.
And you can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Thanks to Adam and Joey in the back. And check out our weekend program. We got a couple mailbags coming out. Also, reminder, check out Top 50 for sure. All right, later.
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.